Even festive demonstrators called for some time out today, but more protests are planned for Thursday. We have more in this report.
Seesaw here. One day, all of Brazil really complaining about the use of police violence against these protesters. And then we get scenes like last night, the police almost purposely taking a back seat to show the world, okay, you don't want us in there, this is what happens. But it really did start peacefully, and as you yourself said, the vast majority of the marchers here in Sao Paulo were marching down the main avenue in a very festive atmosphere. Watch this.
Brazilians back on the streets Tuesday night. Thousands of protesters packed into the main square in downtown Sao Paulo, the 6th demonstration in less than 2 weeks.
This is just getting started. People are arriving. This is just like other nights. The very beginning, everyone's chanting, singing, and really getting excited.
What started as a student protest over higher bus fares has snowballed, with Brazilians saying they're fed up with the high cost of living and high taxes, while the government spends billions on lavish sporting events.
We are here for the corruption, for the money that they spend on the World Cup, constructing the stadiums, the money that they could have spent on education, on hospitals.
Tuesday's protest comes a day after some 200,000 people took to the streets across the country. While Sao Paulo's massive demo Monday night was largely peaceful, in Rio de Janeiro, protesters threw Molotov cocktails, and in Brasilia, they stormed onto the roof of Congress. Tuesday, Sao Paulo, yet again, the center of attention.
We're an hour into the demonstration, and people are starting to move. We never know where they're going to go. We just have to follow along and see where this march takes us.
A large group of marchers head to the mayor's office and try to storm it. They end up setting fire to a car. There was also looting. For the first time since the protests started, President Dilma Rousseff spoke on national television.
The magnitude of the demonstrations yesterday proved the energy of our democracy.
She also said their demands were being heard. But back on the streets, demonstrators say they want proof, starting with lower bus fares.
Now, it has been 17 years since TWA Flight 800 exploded and crashes into the Atlantic Ocean, and next month, on the anniversary of that disaster, a new documentary will be released. Its producers hope that the information they have uncovered will push authorities to open the investigation. Renmash has that story.
The crash, as horrific as it was mysterious. TWA Flight 800 explodes in midair in 1996 off the coast of Long Island.
It blew up in the air, and then we saw 2 fireballs go down to the water.
All 230 on board the 747 dead. The cause, after a 4-year, 17,000-page NTSB investigation, a spark from faulty wiring leading to the center fuel tank. But now, 6 retired members of the original investigation team are breaking their silence. In a new documentary, they are challenging the NTSB's findings and calling for the investigation to be reopened.
I was convinced that the part had been damaged by a high explosion because of the entrance hole and the exit hole.
These former investigators, whose credentials range from the NTSB, TWA, Airline Pilots Union, and forensic experts, now claim that radar and forensic evidence shows the wiring was not the cause of the crash.
What would your analysis have been?
The primary conclusion was the explosive forces came from outside the airplane, not the center fuel tank.
Would that statement have been in your analysis?
If I got the right one.
The agenda was that this is an accident, make it so.
These investigators say that the evidence they examined proves that 1 or more explosions outside the aircraft caused the crash. However, they don't speculate about the source of the explosions. Among the theories considered and rejected by the NTSB at the time was that a missile was responsible. The filmmakers plan to petition the NTSB to reopen the investigation. In a statement, the NTSB left that possibility open if new evidence is uncovered, saying investigators and staff spent an enormous amount of time reviewing, documenting, and analyzing facts and data, while the NTSB rarely reinvestigates issues that have already been examined. Our investigations are never closed, and we can review any new information not previously considered by the board.
There are worrying concerns the Syrian conflict could spill over to its neighbors. The U.S. and other forces are holding military exercises in Jordan. CNN's Ben Wiedemann has more on the maneuvers and the mounting concerns.
Arrive in Jordan for this year's Eager Lion exercises, involving 4,500 U.S. military personnel, 3,000 Jordanians, and 500 from other countries. The exercise is taking place against the backdrop of growing concern over the war in Syria. The Eager Lion, however, is not in search of prey, insists Major General Robert Catalanotti, commander of U.S. forces taking part in the exercise.
We have not, in this exercise, identified any adversary. We have looked at it as any country could be an adversary, and to be prepared for contingency planning.
These contingencies include a massive influx of even more refugees, chemical attacks, and urban unrest. American F-16 fighter jets and Patriot missile batteries are part of the exercise, and at Jordan's request will remain behind. But why no mention of Syria?
Because everybody knows that saying the word Syria now has a price, and especially Jordan, that knows perfectly that Jordan will be the first to pay the price.
The real worry, the violence in Syria could spark something much bigger.
We are talking about a new war that might be a real bloody war, and it might have also an expansion in the whole region and elsewhere.
King Abdullah, speaking at a graduation ceremony at a military academy, did mention Syria and hinted Jordan is worried. If the world doesn't move in this regard as it should, he said, or if this becomes a threat to our country, we are able at any moment to take measures to protect our country and its people's interests. Daoud Ansara did a brisk business in textiles from Syria for more than 30 years. Now he's just selling off old stock. He wishes for better days, but leaves it up to the king to try to steer Jordan through this latest crisis. Abdullah is our king, and he's responsible for all that, Daoud tells me. Whatever he decides, we're behind him. Hoping Jordan will weather this storm as it has so many others before, with a bit of help from its friends. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Amman.
We'll take another break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, and it's now time for the sports news with Fatou Jassi.
Thank you, Fatsane Sise.
Steve Biko Football Club missed the chance to move 2 points clear at the top of the Division 1 league table after drawing their latest fixture against Bakau United. The Giant Killers are now level on points with Real de Banjo with 2 games left of the season. Our MS Jallo watched the Bakau derby and he now reports.
League was held to a disappointing goalless draw by their neighbors.